In the heart of the roaring 20s, the world danced to the rhythm of jazz, skyscrapers reached for the heavens, and prosperity seemed boundless. Yet, beneath the glitz and glamour, a storm brewed, unseen and unheeded. It was a storm that would shatter dreams and test the resilience of nations. This was the Great Depression. The story begins in a bustling city where the streets buzzed with life and hope. Among the throngs of people, there lived a young couple, James and Margaret. They were filled with dreams of a better future, of a life where they could build their own home and raise a family. James worked in a factory, while Margaret tended to their modest apartment, their aspirations mirroring those of countless others across the nation. But as the 20s came to a close, ominous clouds gathered on the horizon. The stock market, once a symbol of endless prosperity, began to falter. Panic spread like wildfire as fortunes were wiped out overnight. Businesses shut their doors, leaving workers without jobs. The American dream, once so tangible, now seemed like a distant memory. James found himself among the unemployed, standing in long lines for meager rations of food. Margaret did her best to stretch what little they had, but each passing day brought them closer to despair. Their dreams began to wither like flowers in a drought. Yet, amidst the darkness, a glimmer of light emerged. Communities banded together, offering support and solace to those in need. Soup kitchens sprang up, providing warm meals to the hungry. Strangers became neighbors, sharing what little they had in acts of kindness and solidarity. James and Margaret clung to each other, finding strength in their love and determination. They refused to let the depression crush their spirits. Instead, they turned to each other for support, drawing strength from their shared dreams. In the depths of the Depression, a new hope began to blossom. President Franklin D. Roosevelt ushered in a new era of reform with his New Deal policies, offering relief to the suffering masses slowly but surely. The nation began to rebuild itself from the ruins. As the year passed, James and Margaret weathered the storm together. They found work once more, saving every penny in pursuit of their dreams. And though the scars of the Great Depression would never fully fade, they emerged stronger, their bond forged in the fires of adversity. The Great Depression had tested the resilience of a generation, but it had also shown the power of hope, perseverance, and community in the face of hardship. And for James and Margaret, it had taught them that as long as they had each other, they could weather any storm that life threw their way. So before we go forward with the video, I felt like it was important to throw that story in there, because it shows us that whether we're facing economic downturns, personal challenges, or global crises, our bond with one another become the bedrock upon which we build our resilience. In times of trial, when we hold fast to those we cherish, when we lend a hand to our neighbors, we not only weather the storm, but we emerge stronger, more compassionate, and more connected than ever before. For it is in the darkest moments that the light of human kindness shines brightest, reminding us that together we are truly unbreakable. So with that being said, let's get into the video. As we navigate the winding paths of history, certain periods emerge as mirror images of one another, reflecting shared experiences and challenges across time. The Great Depression of the 1930s and the year 2024 are two such moments, separated by decades but linked by a common thread of economic hardship and social upheaval. In examining the similarities between the Great Depression and the challenges we face in 2024, we gain valuable insights into the enduring nature of certain economic and social dynamics, as well as the lessons we can learn from the past. During the Great Depression, a wave of bank failures swept across the nation, leaving countless depositors destitute and fueling widespread panic. As banks struggled to meet their obligations, the loss of depositor confidence triggered mass withdrawals. Further straining already fragile institutions, the collapse of the banking system exacerbated the economic downturn, deepening the recession and prolonging the suffering of millions. Similarly, in 2024, the threat of bank failures looms large as financial institutions grapple with mounting challenges. Years of lax lending standards and risky financial practices have left many banks vulnerable to economic shocks, raising concerns about their solvency and stability. As economic conditions deteriorate and defaults rise, the risk of bank failures looms large, threatening to unleash a new wave of financial turmoil and economic hardship. The parallels between the bank failures of the Great Depression and 2024 underscore the importance of prudent regulation and oversight in safeguarding the stability of the financial system. By learning from the mistakes of the past and implementing sound regulatory policies, we can mitigate the risk of bank failures and build a more resilient banking sector that serves the needs of the economy and protects the interests of depositors. The echoes of stock market crashes reverberate through the corridors of economic history, connecting the Great Depression of the 1930s to the challenges faced in 2024. In both eras, the tremors of these crashes sent shockwaves through the global economy, triggering cascading waves of financial turmoil and economic hardship. During the Great Depression, the stock market crash of 1929 served as the catalyst for a downward spiral of economic collapse. Investor speculation and excessive borrowing inflated asset prices to unsustainable levels, leading to a sudden and catastrophic market correction. Millions of investors saw their fortunes vanish overnight as stock prices plummeted, setting off a chain reaction of bank failures, business closures, and widespread unemployment. Similarly, in 2024, the stock market crash sent reverberations through the global financial system, signaling a looming economic crisis. Speculative excess and inflated asset prices fueled a frenzy of buying and selling, pushing markets to unsustainable heights. When the bubble inevitably burst, investors faced steep losses, and the broader economy felt the impact as businesses reeled from the fallout and consumer confidence vanished. The parallels between the stock market crashes of the Great Depression and 2024 serve as a stark reminder of the dangers of unchecked speculation and the fragility of financial markets. While the specific circumstances may differ, the underlying dynamics remain the same, highlighting the need for vigilance and prudence in managing market volatility and preventing systemic crises. As we navigate the aftermath of these crashes, it's essential to draw lessons from the past and take decisive action to stabilize markets, restore investor confidence, and mitigate the impact on the broader economy. By learning from the mistakes of history and implementing sound regulatory and monetary policies, we can build a more resilient financial system that withstands the tests of time. Disruptions in credit markets have long been harbingers of economic turmoil, casting shadows of uncertainty over both the Great Depression of the 1930s and the challenges faced in 2024. In both eras, the collapse of credit markets precipitated a downward spiral of financial instability, exacerbating the already dire economic conditions facing millions. During the Great Depression, the failure of banks and financial institutions led to a credit crunch, stifling lending and impeding economic activity. Similarly, in 2024, the proliferation of risky financial products and lax lending standards has fueled a surge in debt levels, resulting in a tightening of credit conditions and hindering economic growth. The consequences of disruptions in credit markets extend beyond the financial sector, impacting businesses and consumers alike. In both periods, businesses struggle to secure financing for investment, while consumers face difficulties accessing credit for purchases and expenses, leading to a slowdown in economic activity and rising unemployment. While the disruptions in credit markets share striking similarities between the Great Depression and 2024, they also highlight the importance of proactive measures to stabilize financial institutions and restore confidence in the banking system. By drawing lessons from the past and taking decisive action to address the underlying causes of economic instability, we can mitigate the impact of disruptions in credit markets and build a more resilient economy for the future. During the Great Depression, the collapse of the stock market and the wave of bank failures shattered investor confidence, sending shockwaves through the economy. As investors watched their portfolios evaporate and their savings vanish, fear and uncertainty gripped the nation, leading to a widespread withdrawal from financial markets and a reluctance to invest in the future. Similarly, in 2024, The loss of investor confidence has emerged as a critical concern as economic conditions deteriorate and financial markets falter. The stock market crash and the looming threat of bank failures have shaken investor trust, prompting many to pull back from the looming threat of bank failures. The stock market crash and the looming threat of bank failures have shaken investor trust, prompting many to pull back from the markets and adopt a defensive stance. The erosion of confidence has ripple effects throughout the economy, dampening consumer spending, stiffing business investment, and exacerbating the downturn. The parallels between the loss of investor confidence and the Great Depression in 2024 highlight the importance of restoring trust and stability in the financial system. By addressing the root causes of economic uncertainty and implementing measures to bolster investor confidence, we can mitigate the impact of downturns and lay the groundwork for a more resilient and inclusive economy. During the Great Depression, the collapse of financial markets and the widespread failure of banks resulted in a catastrophic erosion of wealth for millions of Americans. Investors saw their portfolios decimated, homeowners faced foreclosure, and businesses shut their doors, leaving countless families destitute and communities reeling from the devastation. Similarly, in 2024, the wealth destruction has emerged as a defining feature of the economic downturn, as the stock market crash and the threat of bank failures have wiped out trillions of dollars in value. Retirement savings vanish, home values plummet, and businesses struggle to stay afloat, leaving individuals and families grappling with the harsh realities of financial insecurity and uncertainty about the future. The parallels between the wealth destruction of the Great Depression and 2024 underscore the far-reaching consequences of economic turmoil and the urgent need for decisive action to address the root causes of instability. By learning from the lessons of history and implementing measures to safeguard against wealth destruction, we can mitigate the impact of downturns and pave the way for a more resilient and equitable economy. Government interventions play a pivotal role in shaping the response to economic crises, echoing similarities between the Great Depression of the 1930s and the challenges faced in 2024. During the Great Depression, the laissez-faire approach initially adopted by the government under President Herbert Hoover proved ineffective in addressing the economic turmoil. As the crises deepened, Franklin D. Roosevelt's administration ushered in a new era of government intervention with the implementation of the New Deal programs. These initiatives aimed to provide relief to those in need, stimulate economic growth, and reform the financial system, making a significant departure from previous hands-off policies. Similarly, in 2024, government interventions have played a critical role in responding to economic downturn. While the approaches may differ, the overarching goal remains the same: to stabilize the economy and restore confidence in financial markets. From fiscal stimulus packages to monetary policy measures, governments and central banks around the world have taken decisive action to support businesses, protect jobs, and alleviate the hardships faced by individuals and families. During the Great Depression, the collapse of financial markets and the subsequent downturn in economic activity led to staggering levels of unemployment. Job losses mounted as businesses shut their doors, factories closed, and workers found themselves without means of support. The unemployment rate soared to unprecedented heights, reaching double digits and leaving families struggling to make ends meet amidst the dire economic conditions. Similarly, in 2024, severe unemployment has emerged as a defining feature of the economic downturn. The stock market crash and the threat of bank failures have precipitated a wave of job losses across industries. As businesses grapple with the declining demand and financial uncertainty, workers face layoffs, furloughs, and reduced hours, exacerbating financial insecurity and compounding the challenges of economic hardship. The parallels between severe unemployment in the Great Depression and 2024 underscore the devastating impact of economic downturns on individuals and families. As unemployment rates climb and job opportunities dwindle, communities face the strain of diminished income, reduced consumer spending, and heightened social tensions. In summary, financial instability characterized by bank failures, stock market crashes, disruptions in credit markets, and a loss of investor confidence is a fundamental similarity between the Great Depression and the economic downturn of 2024. These factors play a crucial role in exacerbating economic crises and prolonging recovery efforts during both periods. During the Great Depression, the downturn in economic activity and widespread unemployment led to a fundamental shift in consumption patterns. With disposable income dwindling and uncertainty about the future looming large, consumers tightened their belts, prioritizing essential goods and necessities over discretionary spending. Frugality became the norm as individuals and families focused on making ends meet amidst the economic hardship. Similarly, in 2024, the economic downturn has prompted a shift in consumption patterns as individuals and households adapt to changing circumstances. The stock market crash and the threat of job losses have heightened financial uncertainty, leading consumers to reevaluate their spending habits and prioritize essential purchases. Discretionary spending declines as consumers adapt a more cautious approach, focusing on saving and budgeting in the face of economic uncertainty. The parallels between the shift in consumption patterns during the Great Depression and 2024 underscore the resilience of consumers in adapting to changing economic conditions. As individuals and households navigate the challenges of economic downturns, they demonstrate a remarkable ability to adjust their behavior and make informed decisions in response to evolving circumstances. Reduced consumer spending had a significant impact on retail and service industries during both periods. In the Great Depression, many retailers and service providers struggled as demand for their products and services declined sharply. Similarly, in 2024, businesses in sectors such as retail, hospitality, and entertainment faced challenges as consumer spending declined, leading to store closures, layoffs, and bankruptcies. In conclusion, reduced consumer spending was a critical similarity between the Great Depression and the economic downturn of 2024. High unemployment rates, decreased disposable income, increased saving rates, shifts in consumption patterns, and the negative wealth effect all contributed to a decline in consumer spending during both periods, exacerbating the economic downturns and prolonging recovery efforts. Policy responses to economic downturns, both during the Great Depression and in 2024, involved significant government intervention aimed at stabilizing financial markets, stimulating economic activity, and providing relief to affected populations. Here are some key similarities between the policy responses. The fiscal stimulus packages. Between the Great Depression of the 1930s and the challenges faced in 2024, these measures aimed to inject liquidity into the economy, stimulate demand, and provide relief to individuals as businesses grappling with financial hardship. During the Great Depression, the need for government intervention became apparent as economic conditions deteriorated and unemployment soared. In response, Franklin D. Roosevelt administration implemented ambitious fiscal stimulus packages as part of the New Deal programs. These initiatives included public works projects, job creation programs, and social welfare measures aimed at providing relief to those most affected by the economic downturn. Similarly, in 2024, fiscal stimulus packages have played a pivotal role in responding to the economic crisis triggered by the stock market crash and the threat of bank failures. Governments around the world have unveiled massive spending plans aimed at supporting businesses, protecting jobs, and providing financial assistance to individuals and families struggling to make ends meet. These packages include measures such as direct cash payments, expanded unemployment benefits, and funding for infrastructure projects and healthcare initiatives. The parallels between fiscal stimulus packages in the Great Depression and 2024 underscore the importance of proactive government intervention in mitigating the impact of economic crises. By injecting liquidity into the economy and providing targeted relief to those most affected, these measures help stabilize financial markets. stimulate demand, and pave the way for recovery. Monetary easing measures. Monetary easing measures serve as critical tools in addressing economic downturns, drawing parallels between the Great Depression of the 1930s and the challenges faced in 2024. These measures aim to stimulate economic activity, promote lending, and stabilize financial markets by adjusting interest rates and implementing unconventional monetary policies. During the Great Depression, the Federal Reserve adopted a series of monetary easing measures in an effort to combat the economic downturn. These measures included lowering interest rates, expanding the money supply, and implementing unconventional policies such as open market operations and quantitative easing. By providing liquidity to financial institutions and encouraging borrowing and investment, these measures helped mitigate the impact of the economic crisis and lay the groundwork for recovery. Similarly, in 2024, central banks around the world have implemented monetary easing measures in response to the economic challenges triggered by the stock market crash and the threat of bank failures. These measures include lowering interest rates to near zero levels, implementing asset purchase programs, and providing liquidity support to financial markets. By lowering borrowing costs and supporting lending activity, these measures aim to stimulate economic growth and promote stability in financial markets. The parallels between monetary easing measures in the Great Depression and 2024 underscore the importance of central bank intervention in addressing economic crises. By adjusting monetary policy to support economic activity and stabilize financial markets, central banks play a crucial role in mitigating the impact of downturns and facilitating recovery. Regulatory reforms. In response to the financial crises during both periods, governments enacted regulatory reforms aimed at strengthening oversight of financial markets and institutions to prevent future crises. In the aftermath of the Great Depression, regulatory reforms such as the Glass-Steagall Act and the establishment of the Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) were implemented to regulate banking and security markets and enhance transparency and accountability. Similarly, in 2024, policymakers introduced regulatory reforms to address weaknesses in the financial system, enhance risk management practices, and improve consumer protection. Job creation programs. To address high unemployment rates and provide relief to those affected by economic downturns, both periods saw the implementation of job creation programs and employment initiatives. During the Great Depression, Franklin D. Roosevelt's New Deal introduced programs such as the Works Progression Administration, the WPA, and the Civilian Conservation Corps, the CCC, to create jobs and provide employment opportunities for millions of unemployed Americans. Similarly, in 2024, governments launched job creation programs and initiatives aimed at generating employment, retraining workers, and supporting industries hit hard by the economic downturn. Social welfare programs. Both the Great Depression and 2024 prompted the expansion of social welfare programs to provide assistance to vulnerable populations and mitigate the impact of economic hardship. In the 1930s, the New Deal included programs such as Social Security and unemployment insurance to provide financial support to the elderly, unemployed, and disadvantaged. Similarly, in 2024, governments expanded social welfare programs, unemployment benefits, and social safety nets to support individuals and families facing economic insecurity and unemployment. With the wealthiest individuals and corporations amassing vast fortunes while millions of Americans struggle to make ends meet, the gap between the rich and the poor has widened, leading to a growing sense of frustration and disillusionment among working-class Americans. Speculative excess was another hallmark of the Great Depression. As investors poured money into risky ventures in the hope of striking it rich, this reckless pursuit of wealth ultimately led to the stock market crash of 1929 and the subsequent economic collapse. In recent years, we've witnessed a similar pattern of speculative behavior, with investors chasing after inflated asset prices and taking in excessive levels of risk. From the dot-com bubble of the late 1990s to the housing bubble of the mid-2000s, the cycle of booms and busts seems to repeat itself with alarming regularity. Debt also played a central role in both the Great Depression and the challenges of 2024. In the years leading up to the stock market crash of 1929, many Americans took an excessive debt in a desperate bid to maintain their standard of living. When the economy took a downturn, they found themselves unable to keep up with their mortgage payments and other financial obligations, leading to a wave of foreclosures and bankruptcies. Today, we see a similar story playing out. With household debts levels soaring to record highs, easy access to credit and stagnant wages have left many Americans struggling to keep up with the cost of living, leading to a growing sense of financial insecurity. Despite the passage of time and the evolution of society, the similarities between the Great Depression and the challenges of 2024 serve as a sobering reminder of the cyclical nature of economic history and the enduring resilience of the human spirit. Just as previous generations rose to meet the challenges of their time, so too must we rise to meet the challenges of ours. By drawing on the lessons of the past and working together to build a better future, we can overcome even the greatest of challenges and create a world where prosperity is shared by all. While history often repeats itself, no two moments in time are ever truly identical. Such is the case with the Great Depression of the 1930s and the challenges we face in the year 2024. Though linked by themes of economic hardship and social upheaval, these two periods are also marked by important differences that distinguish them from one another. In examining the differences between the Great Depression and 2024, we gain valuable insights into the unique challenges and opportunities of each era, as well as the evolving nature of the human experience. One key difference between the Great Depression and 2024 lies in the underlying causes of economic instability. During the Great Depression, the stock market crash of 1929 served as the catalyst for a downward spiral of bank failures, business closures, and widespread unemployment. The crash was fueled by speculative excess and a lack of government regulation, as investors poured money into risky ventures in the hope of striking it rich. In contrast, the challenges of 2024 have been shaped by a very different set of factors, including globalization, technological advancements, and political polarization. While speculative behavior and excessive debt have played a role in both periods, the root causes of economic instability in 2024 are more complex and interconnected, reflecting the changing dynamics of the global economy. Another key difference between the Great Depression and 2024 is the role of the government in addressing economic hardship. During the Great Depression, President Herbert Hoover pursued a policy of laissez-faire, believing that the market would eventually correct itself. His inaction only served to deepen the economic crisis and prolong the suffering of millions of Americans. It wasn't until the election of Franklin D. Roosevelt in 1932 that the federal government began to take decisive action to address the economic crisis. Through his New Deal programs, Roosevelt implemented a series of bold initiatives aimed at providing relief to those in need, stimulating economic growth, and reforming the financial system. In contrast, the response to the challenges of 2024 has been marked by a mix of government intervention and political gridlock. While there have been some efforts to address income inequality and economic instability, progress has been slow and uneven. Political polarization and partisan gridlock have hindered efforts to implement meaningful reforms, leaving many Americans feeling frustrated and disillusioned. One of the most significant differences between the Great Depression and 2024 is the global nature of the current economic landscape. In the 1930s, the Great Depression was largely confined to the United States, with other countries experiencing their own economic downturns, but not to the same extent. Today, however, we live in an interconnected world where economic crises in one country can have far-reaching implications for others. Globalization has made it easier for financial contagion to spread across borders, leading to a more interconnected and interdependent global economy. This interconnectedness has both benefits and challenges as it allows for greater economic integration and cooperation, but also increases the risk of systemic crises and contagion. Technological advancements have also transformed the economic landscape in ways that were unimaginable during the Great Depression. The rise of automation and artificial intelligence has led to profound changes in the labor market, with many traditional jobs being replaced by machines. While these technological advancements have led to increased productivity and efficiency, they have also led to growing concerns about job displacement and income inequality. In the 1930s, the labor market was primarily driven by manual labor and industrial production, whereas today it is increasingly shaped by digital technologies and knowledge-based industries. This shift has profound implications for the future of work and the distribution of wealth and opportunity in society. Another key difference between the Great Depression and 2024 is the state of the financial system. During the Great Depression, the banking system was severely strained by a wave of bank failures and depositor runs, leading to widespread panic and distrust. In response, the federal government implemented a series of reforms aimed at stabilizing the financial system and restoring confidence. Today, the financial system is more robust and resilient, thanks in part to regulations implemented in the wake of the 2008 financial crisis. However, new challenges have emerged, including the rise of digital currencies and the proliferation of complex financial instruments, which pose new risks to the stability of the financial system. Despite these differences, there are also important lessons that we can learn from the Great Depression that are relevant to the challenges of 2024. The importance of government intervention in times of economic crisis, the need for bold and decisive action to address income inequality and economic instability, and the power of collective action to bring about meaningful change. These are all lessons that we can draw from the past as we navigate the uncertain waters of the present. In conclusion, while the Great Depression in 2024 shares some common themes of economic hardship and social upheaval, they are also marked by important differences that reflect the evolving nature of the human experience. By understanding these differences and drawing on the lessons of the past, we can better navigate the challenges of the present and build a brighter future for ourselves and for generations to come. As we confront the specter of a potential recession in 2024, it's imperative to chart a course that steers us away from economic downturn and towards stability and prosperity. To navigate these uncertain waters and safeguard against recession, several key strategies must be implemented. First and foremost, addressing income inequality is paramount. By narrowing the wealth gap and ensuring that economic gains are shared more equitably across society, we can bolster consumer spending, stimulate demand, and foster a more resilient economy. Secondly, prudent fiscal and monetary policies are essential. Governments must ensure responsible spending and investment, prioritizing initiatives that promote long-term growth and stability. Central banks must also remain vigilant, employing monetary tools judiciously to manage inflation and interest rates in a manner that supports sustainable economic expansion. Thirdly, regulatory oversight is critical in preventing excessive risk-taking and speculative behavior. Strengthening financial regulations and enforcing transparency and accountability within the banking and investment sectors can help mitigate the risk of market instability and systemic crises. Fourthly, investing in education, innovation, and infrastructure is vital for laying the foundation of a dynamic and competitive economy. By fostering a skilled workforce, encouraging technological advancement, and modernizing our infrastructure, we can enhance productivity, spur innovation, and create opportunities for long-term growth and prosperity. Lastly, fostering international cooperation and coordination is essential in an increasingly interconnected world. Collaborative efforts to address global challenges such as climate change, trade imbalances, and financial contagion can help build resilience against external shocks and promote sustainable development on a global scale. By implementing these strategies and remaining vigilant in our pursuit of economic stability and prosperity, we can steer clear of the pitfalls of recession and chart a course towards a brighter future for all. So with that being said, guys, let me know down below what you thought of the video. Also, what steps do you think we need to take to ensure a better economy for our future generations? Let me know your thoughts down below. With all that being said, thank you for watching. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe for future content. Thank you guys. Bye.